Hey guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be showing you guys some of the books that have unique formats. When I say that, I don't mean, oh, they've got illustrations in. That's like a whole another video for itself, and one which I am actually going to film in the next few days. This video is about books that have different ways of telling the story, whether they include transcripts, recordings. It's, yeah, like different ways of reading the book. To be honest, I couldn't actually find that many that I have read on my shelf. So this is supposed to be like a top 10 video, but I could find 7. So we're going to pretend that there's 10. So it goes with the title. Let's just get into it. The first book that I have is Horace Tall by Grady Hendrix, and this is a horror story set in an alternate version of IKEA. Now, I said that it's not going to have illustrations in, okay, and I completely get that, but this was just too unique not to include. So we have like the IKEA furniture there. The text is in blue, which is, you know, unique in itself because it's just black text normally. And okay, then you have like the normal novel bits and pieces of the book, but then you also have things like this. And for me, this doesn't really count as an illustration that much. So like, by illustrations, I'd mean the drawings in Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, or the pictures in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That's what I mean by illustrations. This, you know, I can see if people be like, well, that doesn't belong in your video. But really, it's just, you know, it's a square, so it's not the normal shape of a book either. It's got blue ink. It's got just weird things that accompany the story. So it's not in a different format, but it's a different way of telling the story, I guess. So I've started it out on a strange one, but for me this is a unique format. I mean, that's why I brought it, because I thought it was a unique idea. I've never seen something like this before, and that's what's intrigued me. So I'm starting this video out with an illustrated unique format book. So Grady Hendrix. The next 2 books is a series, and I'm sure you all know about these, and that is Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Then we have Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and the third book is Obsidio, and that's coming out in March, I think, or May. And so I'm going to put Gemina down because it's heavy. If you don't know Illuminate, it's about space and enemies fighting and plagues that break out on spaceships and stuff like that. And it's told through a multimedia platform. So we have, let me just try and find an example. So we've got file entries, which is the very first page. Then we've got recordings here, and like interviews and stuff. Information about the spaceships. So it's told, the whole story is told through different kinds of classified files, recordings, statements, interviews. Yeah, and so like you can see that some stuff's being blacked out there as it would be in a classified file. Then we have casualty lists. So yeah, it's quite different. Pictures of casualties. It's a very good story. I do recommend it. And the same kind of format goes for Gemina as well. So it's told in reports and just, yeah, stuff like that. And to be honest, when I see books with unique formats, I tend to buy them more often than books without unique formats, because when I see books like this that are told in file reports, recordings and all of that, it automatically intrigues me. There's a higher chance of me buying the book. Then we have another series, and that is The Next Together by Lauren James and The Last Beginning by Lauren James. similar to an Illuminate, but there's less of it. So we have, it's told through different periods of time. So you've got the time jump as well. And then you've got like little snippets here from newspaper articles there as well. You have letters that are sent to the characters. And I think there's text messages as well. We have some maps there, website, so screen grabs or screenshots, whatever you call it. Messaging between characters, so text messages. I didn't actually know that this was going to be told through different formats. I read it going into it thinking that it's just going to be a normal kind of novel the way it's told. But when I started reading it and I realised that there was all this information, I got very intrigued, and I did have the opportunity to meet Lauren James, and she signed it for my 21st birthday. Seems like ages ago. And then the second book has similar things, so a biography blurb there, chat kind of layout. The lighting is awful, I'm so sorry. Transcripts there, so again, interesting layout. Adds a little bit more depth to the story, I think, as well. That's another reason why I like the books with unique formats. It just adds a bit more depth and a bit more fun. Now, this is where it just completely changes. So instead of having transcripts, files, recordings, we have this one. So this is Marvels by Brian Selznick, who is the author of Hugo, and it's gold. Yes, it's amazing. But with this book, half the book is told in story format. Okay, so you've got, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this because it's a heavy book, but all here is pictures, right? So half the book is told through drawings. Then we go to the next half of the book, which I'm going to have to switch sides. My life is told through novel format. And then we go back into the pictures again. It's different. It took me a while to get used to actually read it. I mean, I know it's kind of like a graphic novel where it's very kind of illustrated and visual, but at least graphic novels have text as well. When it's like this and it's just pictures, it can be quite hard to read sometimes, because like sometimes you just don't know how to interpret it and what's going on. But you get there, and then it just keeps happening. Wow, this book is so heavy. Keeps happening, and then phew, text, and then you get the normal kind of novel feeling. Like I said, it was hard to get into at first, but you do get used to it, and the drawings are absolutely amazing. I don't actually know who illustrated it. I think the pictures were actually done by Brian Selznick himself, I think. And I know that, I think his other book, Hugo Cabaret, is told in this format as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. I think that's like his way of telling stories. The next one is more 21st century kind of book, and that is Shadow House by Dan Pawlowski. And this book requires an app. So you just download an app onto your phone, and what it does is that, see that little symbol there? If you see that symbol on any of the pages, you enter it into the Shadow House app, and then it comes up with like different information, different types of hauntings and stuff like that. So let me just try to find one. So you have all the information there on what to do with the app, and just look at this though. It looks like the pages have been burnt on the outside, and that's just amazing. They also have illustrations of really spooky things. That seems to be a really common thing lately with horror books. They seem to have illustrations or photos to accompany them. Okay, so here, got a picture of this scary looking house. You've got the symbol there. So what you do is you're putting that symbol onto the app, and then it comes up with information about the house, how it's haunted. So it's really interesting. There's a second book out as well, which I haven't read yet. It's about some friends. They think they've been summoned to the Shadow House for different reasons. It's like hallways move, doors vanish, children vanish, and it's like, what's going on? And it's really creepy. Definitely recommend for a Halloween read, like 100%. And I just think having the app is a really up-to-date way of telling the story, but it's also optional as well. So if you don't want to go on the app, well, you can just read the story and look at the pictures to go along with it. But to add that kind of third dimensional way of telling the story, I do actually fully recommend using the app, because it taught me a lot and it was a bit spooky. So again, here you've got the symbol here for the picture, and it just gives you information about what that picture is and who is it. If you're scared of dolls, look away now. So here we've got the picture of the doll behind the bars. The symbol tells you information about what it is. So that's Shadow House by Dan Pawlowski. Then we have one that I'm sure you all know, and that is Replica by Lauren Oliver. Now the thing with this novel is you've got Replica, and then you have to spin it. So you spin it, and then you've got Gemma's version. So here you've got Lyra's side of the story, then you have Gemma's version of the story. And what happens is you can choose which character's perspective you read from first. But what happens is you get halfway. We're on Lyra's side at the moment. So you've just got normal text here. And if you flip a few pages, it's got the butterfly to split the points of view up. And then suddenly it goes upside down. So you know that you've gone onto the different perspective. So you flip the book, and then you read it from Gemma's point of view. It is a very interesting read, very different as well. I know there's a few more YA books that have started doing this lately, but there is a sequel to this now, and it's called Ringer, and it's got like a really dark purple cover. Again, it follows Lyra's perspective and Gemma's perspective. And again, it's a flip book, and I just thought this was really interesting. That's the only kind of unique thing about it, but I do think it's nice to have a book with 2 points of view, but not one that's like constantly switching every chapter. It's like half the book is dedicated to each character, and I think that's an amazing way of telling the story. I just thought it was brilliant. It wasn't confusing, and even though the dialogue did overlap in some places, it didn't bother me at all, because there was different kind of intonations and tones to the dialogue. So yeah, it was different and it was absolutely amazing. The last two books are ones that is similar to how Illuminate is presented, and that is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel, and the sequel to that, which is Waking Gods. And this book is told through recordings. There is no normal prose format during this book. It's all recordings and files. So here we've got file here, file number with the transcript. Then we've got like personal journal entries, interviews. So again, it's told in loads and loads of different formats. It's not so with Illuminate, it had lots of bursts of black and diagrams to go with it. It's not like that in Sleeping Giants. It's literally just text. So the files are told in a kind of boring way, but it's still different formats, with the fact that it's recordings, it's transcript, it's journal entries, it's diary entries, there's interviews, stuff like that. And that carries over to Waking Gods as well. So we've got interviews, and to be honest, it was interesting. There is quite a few perspectives, and then we have voice recordings from the plane's cockpit there. It was different. We didn't have that in Sleeping Giants, but I do fully recommend this book. I devoured both books. I do think Sleeping Giants is better than the second book, Waking Gods, personally. But there is a third book coming out next year, I think. So I can't wait for that one. And that is the 7 books or series with unique formats. And if there is any more that I start to find in the book verse, then I will create another video to show you guys those. So if you're like me and you absolutely love books with unique formats, definitely check these books out because they are amazing and just add a completely new dimension to the story, which I love. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you've got any comments or questions, or if you've got any more recommendations of books with unique formats, let me know in the comments because I would love to find some more that I can just spend my money on. I do post videos Mondays, Tuesdays and Fridays. If you would like to receive notifications for when I post videos, just click on the bell icon below and then yeah, you can receive notifications for when I post videos. And that is all I have to say, so thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye!